Welcome to the Kazual Show. My name is Sean McConnell. Earl Burnett is stuck in traffic, so I got Jay hanging in here with me.
Oh, you good?
Tell Earl to hurry up. Apparently there's an accident on the 10, so hopefully everyone's okay.
Yeah,
but
hopefully so.
how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. As soon as you walked in the studio, that's one of the things with my show. I kept it a little bit more local than I typically do.
Yeah, I heard that.
I saw you on social media. You were at the game.
Yeah, I was
yesterday,
there.
So I know you're going to be getting all into it.
I got a lot of emotions to process. This is my therapy today. All day yesterday was a little rough.
When did you know it was going to be bad?
The first touchdown, really. The first touchdown. Them marching down and Adrian Peterson knocking off a couple runs, a couple chunk plays. I knew it was bad.
Okay. We talked, we do the show, obviously you guys have your show that you do at this point in time every Monday. But so on the neutral zone,
yeah,
which is Thursdays from 8 to 9, tell a friend, we talked about the Cardinals for a little bit and some of our concerns about what we hoped would not be one of those offenses where if they fall behind, they wouldn't.
Oh, you called it.
Right.
I mean, you called it. I have it down here in my notes. I said, Jay called this. If we got down, do we have a team that can come back from that? And the answer was no, collectively. And that's exactly what happened. You get punched in the mouth early. You have nobody there that can help you. But I really think, and I mean, I'm going to dive into this a lot more, obviously, through the course of the show, but I really think that this was all on the defense.
Okay.
If you can't stop Adrian Peterson.
And you know what's coming because he doesn't do.
Graybeard Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And then Thompson as well. I mean, Thompson also had 65. AP had 96 yards.
Right.
I mean, Washington wasn't going in being a running team necessarily, right. And they came in and they made you look bad. A team that was supposed to be the defense being the strong point.
Exactly. And does that say something about what they thought was what is the weakness, which is run defense, or is that just this week as an aberration?
Well, see, I was looking at this all preseason long. I know Earl has heard me preach this every game that we've watched so far, is that this run defense is just letting everybody through. The pass defense I had no concerns with at all. It was the run defense. They were letting off chunk plays. I don't know if they were just, new to the offense or we had some linebackers that were out, but there was nobody there, and there hasn't been. And that is the giant concern now because people are asking me, what happened? What happened? If you can't stop the run, and you can't pass, and you can't run, this is what happens. Right. I mean, I already have it down. Andy Lee was the best player on that team, the punter. Andy Lee was the best punter on that team yesterday.
Man, we're gonna obviously we're gonna dive into really take a more of a micro approach to it. Were they booing the Cardinals? Were they booing the Cardinals?
Absolutely, they were. I was not. I mean, at that point, I was just laughing it off because it's either that or you start crying.
Right.
But they were booing the Cardinals. There were obviously some plays, some referee calls. We were already down 21-0 at that point, so the calls didn't really matter in my opinion. But they were booing the refs for the bad calls or out of frustration. But they were booing the Cardinals. Yeah, absolutely, especially at half.
So the final score, what, 24-6?
24-6.
So
that 6 being in basically garbage time.
Right. So, is there any positive to take away from it? If 21 in the first half and it ends up being 24-6, is there any positive to take away? Maybe they woke up and maybe at halftime there was enough anger and vitriol in the locker room where they said we can't let this get any worse than it is.
So I don't want to puff my own chest and say where I sit because I'm blessed. I have a father-in-law who has season tickets very close, and I'm close to the bench.
Right.
I didn't see that. I didn't see guys that were ticked off throwing helmets. Things like I saw one person that was Antoine Bethea. He's the only guy trying to light a fire under anybody.
Really.
I honestly think it wasn't an adjustment thing that stopped the scoring or stopped the bleeding. I think it was just the Redskins knowing we have them, and let's just dink and dunk, run the clock out. And so Adrian Peterson didn't play as much in the second half. They kind of just cooled the Jets on, all right, let's rest him because we know you only really have 1 or 2 full games in the season at this point in your age. Let's give you a half a game of success and break him out prior for 4 games.
Right.
And I think that's what it felt like. It felt like they were just kind of playing with us at that point.
I don't know, man.
It's demoralizing. It's very demoralizing.
What was the makeup of the crowd? Predominantly Cardinals fans, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, obviously towards the end there was Redskin chants and all the stuff. They were pretty respectable about it. I mean, it was frustrating, but we weren't mad at them. We're mad at we're mad at the play on the field.
The the coach, what are your thoughts on some of his comments after the game? He really took responsibility for it. One of the arguments that I heard was that, unlike Arians, who would try to really point out some of the good things that they did in the game,
right?
The new coach is saying, no, this was definitely not good enough, et cetera, et cetera. Really taking them. Is that just lip service? Does that give you any type of encouragement? What are your thoughts on that?
I like Wilkes as a coach. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hear it all the time. Players make the plays, right? And so the coach has to take the heat for that. And there were players not making plays. There was drop passes. There was inaccurate throws. There were not enough running lanes. And there was a giant open door on the outside, on the inside, anywhere you want on the defense that AP could run through, he did. So, I mean, it was almost on all phases, minus Andy Lee on special teams. It was almost on all phases that you had this issue. And I don't know that this is a Wilkes problem. And I don't know that it is necessarily them getting used to a system problem either.
Right.
It almost just seemed like they needed another preseason game. Like they just didn't think this was week one. I mean, it's a home opener.
Interesting.
It wasn't like they were on the road.
Right.
And now they're going to go week 2 up against the Rams, and they're obviously no slouch.
Right.
I really don't know what to think of it. I think Wilkes is going to keep them accountable. He's also not playing with fully his guys, right? This is his first year. He's taking over some of Bruce Arians' guys like the J.J. Nelsons, the Kimdichis.
Yeah.
So he has to kind of work with what he has, and he's not going to have as much of an input with, hey, this type of guy works with my system until next year. Right. So I think it's a big mix of everything. I think he's really going to keep them accountable, and they got to make a lot of improvements, a lot.
So you think it comes down to maybe an effort thing?
It looked like an effort thing. It did, and it's crazy because the talent on this roster is, I wouldn't say off the charts, but it's great. It's almost 2015.
Better than giving up 24 points over and really the offense, of course, not coming.
Absolutely.
That we know what they should be capable of.
Absolutely.
Interesting. I don't know. It's to your point though. There's only so much. I was at a high school. I know it's high school pros different, but there's a lot. I think there are some similarities when you think about coaching.
Yeah.
Is that if you tell somebody we're in cover 3, and then the defensive back steps up and gets ran right by, that's not the coach's fault.
Right.
And that happened in the game that I was at. And the
beat.
coach says, we were in cover 3.
Yeah.
We were in cover. What were you doing?
Right.
And he gave up, and it was a wide open touchdown. And I think the same thing. I mean, it seems like that can be the same thing when you're talking about pros. You give them everything they need.
Yeah.
Now go out and execute. And if you're in the wrong spot, what does that do? But does that you talk with the defense being, if you had to pick a side, being the stronger of the two, greater expectations on the defensive side of the ball.
Certainly.
So you would think that there would be personalities that would be maybe stronger personalities on that defensive side that would try to rip a new one in the team if they're coming out flat or unfocused. And you said that wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case. And here's a mirror image. You have DJ Swearinger on Washington now. He used to play for the Cardinals during the Bruce Arians era. Obviously, he's a dog in the fight. He's a guy who is just pure adrenaline. He's going to knock your face in. And he was loving it out there.
Okay.
We don't have a guy like that on the bench anymore. I mean, Chandler Jones, Patrick Peterson, they aren't that type. They are the follow my lead type. Yeah. They follow Larry Fitzgerald. They're the same mold, those types of guys. I mean, Chandler's obviously goofy and he plays around a little bit, but there's not a guy other than Antoine Bethea that was doing that. And you think Dan Buchanan is a guy that kind of brings that swagger when he hits you. Mm-hmm. He was the lowest rated player on that defense, and that just speaks volumes. What was happening in the linebacker room that day? Where were they? Where were the tackles inside the box?
Yeah. That seems to be something that will be interesting to follow all season long then in terms of a leader on that defensive side then.
Right.
Because if you're building a team, especially you really get into the nuts and bolts of football, if you're building a team, you want somebody that's going to lead by example, but I would imagine you want one or two of those really emotional vocal leaders, or do you?
I would like some emotion. I'm not saying that we need to get a Richard Sherman type emotion out there where it's distracting to a sense and it's a problem for PR to have to deal with.
Right.
But you need somebody out there that's going to be not the rah type either. There's got to be a blend. I like what Antoine Bethea is doing, but at the same time, he was doing it, and there wasn't much coming from it. They got a couple stops, but at the same time, garbage time was the second the fourth quarter started, in my opinion. You're down 21-0 in the fourth quarter, it's garbage time.
Right.
Unless you got Aaron Rodgers, there's no coming back from that.
Right.
So you can get stops in the fourth quarter down 21-0 and think that you're going to be fine, but you had to do it from the get-go, and that didn't happen.
I wonder what.
It was too little, too late. Honestly, the way they tried to bump it up, and it came out at halftime. It was too little, too late at halftime.
Right.
I mean, I took my I wear gloves because I like to clap. I like to doll it up a little bit for my fanhood. I took the gloves off. I said, "Give me the popcorn. I'm just gonna sit back."
All right, so we're gonna get deeper into this. You're in the Casual House. It's Kazual Sportz. That's Sean McConnell. I am Jay Adams for our dude Casual E out there. Casual E out there on the I-10 coming on in. Come on in, big dog. Come on in, big dog. What you listen to Kazual Sportz.
Interest Realty and Kirsten Schaefer's AZ Property Experts are the support staff team you need on your sideline when buying, selling, and creating your real estate investing strategy in Arizona. She helps her clients sell homes fast and for top dollar buy a personal home or entire portfolio of investment properties. She even helps investors by providing full service property management, completing renovations, rehabs, and flipping houses through affiliate.
All right, guys, Earl is at the door. He's coming in.
Success on the real estate gridiron with Interest Realty and Kirsten Schaefer's AZ Property Expert. Visit us today at azpropertyexperts.com or call us at 480-788-2761. For no hassle, no obligation consultation today. Call 480-788-2761 or visit our website at azpropertyexperts.com.
I used to post to job boards that sent me tons of resumes.
Just to find a few people who were right for my job.
That whole process was not smart.
I went to see.
Oh, there he is.
What's up, man?
Got lights. Look at that big tripod I got set up. I took the top of yours and just swapped it.
That's tight. Oh my God, man, that was something else. Sitting in traffic. I just got word.
Paper says hello. What's up, Paper?
Oh, yeah.
For in-depth conversations about the stories found in our favorite books. The Great American Read returns Tuesdays this fall at 8, 7 Central, starting September 11th on your PBS station. PBS has a list of America's featured best-loved novels that may need your help picking the
I learned that from you.
You know it. You know it.
Putting business out in the street. You're like, oh yeah. I turned the TV on and see none of this game. The Jets was blowing with the
Yeah, we all blew that. We all blew that one. That's big.
That is freaking crazy.
I'm sitting down now.
Oh, you were standing up?
You saying no because I was saying no.
Yeah, I was matching his intensity.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise, if he's standing up and I'm sitting down, I'm like, oh gosh.
Like nervous or something?
Yeah.
Man, I missed that whole front thing, man.
You gonna run today?
Yeah, I gotta run tonight because I didn't got my son a car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, crew. Were you? Was that email clear enough? Okay, cool. Thank you.
I told her we were just gonna, go with the flow until you got here. So
Yeah, I hear you, man. I appreciate it.
you kind of just toss
I
it
gotta
out.
put you on the spot. But you've been here long enough. You pretty much know.
I was like, I'm not gonna go into the.
Hurricane Huddle.
No.
Yeah,
No, I'm not doing that
I had a
blind.
good one too, but I'm just have to tell him next time.
Yeah, I'm not doing that blind. I wrote down a
That's
couple
straight.
stuff.
Point A, point B, point C, point D of your birthday call out.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got a couple stuff on Booker and D-backs if we need anything.
This is Larry Fitzgerald. You listen to the exclusive voice of the Bird Gang, Kazual Sportz.
Yeah.
Oh man, Larry Fitzgerald, #1 fan of the Kazual Sportz Show.
There you go. That's how we do it.
Oh wait, who's that talking?
Oh yeah, that is I.
Oh hey Earl, what's up?
What's up, guys? Hey, I appreciate you, Jay, hanging in there with us. Accident on the I-10 freeway. I don't complain because, hey, somebody's life could be at stake here. So I just like, hey, let's hopefully let that go by and see what happens. So I just waited it out.
Man. You know I got your back, man.
Yeah,
It's all good.
I know. I appreciate you, bro. Good talk too. I was listening on the way up. I was like, hey, this how it sounds on the other end.
I didn't sound too depressed, did I?
Nah. You had it. You got it, man. You can drive this bus. You know that. So
I don't got my license.
you don't have your license. I just want to give a quick thanks again to all the Bird Gang for this week's. Again, I didn't get to do the Bird Gang huddle, but y'all know what goes on with the Bird Gang. AZ Bird Gang fam has a Cardinals signing going on tomorrow. Free agent sports, Paradise Valley Mall. My man Valentine Flores has that going down 7 o'clock to 8 p.m. Bird Gang. So get out there and support the AZ Bird Gang fam. You have to be part of the club, of course, to get the autograph from David Johnson. And there's also a raffle going on as well for one of the members to win a meet and greet up close with David. So you want to get involved with that, of course, go to www.azbirdgangfam.club. My man Valentine Flores. I had a whole lot of other things for the Bird Gang. We're going to save that till next time, but I do want to give a quick shout out to the Bird Gang community that's out there. The Cardinal players and Big Red are making their way to some schools around the valley. Tomorrow morning, the players and Big Red will be at the elementary school Justine Spitolny of the Cartwright District, and the Spitolny Tigers, what they call themselves. So Big Red's going to be out there reading with the kids. Not Big Red, I'm sorry. The Cardinal players are going to be reading with the kids. Big Red's just going to be doing some signs and some shaking hands. Yeah. You don't talk too much unless there's some sign language going on and some pointing. But yeah, Big Red will be out there doing that for the kids. And I want to give a thank you to the principal of Spitolny, Jeanette Hike, and also one of the great teachers there, awesome teacher there, Alicia Alvarez, who reached out to the Kazual Sportz Show. We should be on hand down there in the morning around 12:30 for the kids. So let's get back to business.
I got a little Twitter take. It's a Facebook take,
Okay.
but I know you're gonna laugh at this one because laughter helps us from our depression from last night. So Levi Sanchez posted on a Facebook group that I'm a part of. He says, "Can someone give me the directions to the church holding the memorial service for the Cardinals 2018 season? So sad, so young." And I said, "Yeah, the Alex Smithstein Chapel, the Adrian Peter Costal Church."
Wow.
I said a reading from the book of Josh Norman.
Oh, that's good though.
You have to laugh to keep from crying.
That's good though.
I live in tons of all.
I think everybody's up in arms right now. I need to calm down just a little bit though, because remember, if you guys can remember, when BA's regime took over, we had this same issue.
It was ugly.
It was ugly early. Offense was pathetic, and we couldn't figure it out why. And then later down along the line, somewhere around the 10th, 8th, or 9th game, they started to really kind of put something together to salvage the season. So don't everybody just calm down. It's one game.
Here's the red flag I have with that though. The BA regime, at least the defense was still clicking.
That's true.
I feel like they're not even clicking, and that's making me concerned. Because even the Wisenhunt era, right before he left, Peterson and the defense were rocking, and they were still keeping Kevin Cobb in games. So
I feel sorry for Kevin Cobb, man.
If we could win 4 games with him,
I mean,
come on.
Yeah. Well, I had some highlights and stuff ready for this game. I wonder if we got time. Do we got time for that, crew? Yeah. I don't think so.
You can get to what you can get to, man.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and see if we can run it, see what happens, and then if we have to cut it, then we'll cut it in for the next segment. But go ahead and run the casual highlights for your Sunday's Cardinal game.
You ready for this? It's now time for the Redbirds highlights of the week. First quarter.
Hey, Jay, did we get that? Oh, is this? Is it on? Oh, okay. Is it on the speakers? I can't tell. Okay. Mine is turned up so loud I can just hear it from here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That comes through clear. I did all this on the Adobe just this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I try to make it short as possible. Try to get all the key points, but
All of the Redskins touchdowns.
basically.
Oh, okay, Jay.
Raiders is battling, huh?
I need to give me a Raiders jersey.
Ah,
Second
Okay.
Smith to run it. And slides to the 15. That is another first down. Touchdown, Adrian Peterson. He finished his season in Arizona a year ago, and it ended early because of a severe neck injury. They're showing blitz, and here they come. And a quick throw to Reed is in the touchdown.
That's kind of mean to let people relive this, huh?
Yeah, it's making me mad.
This play. To confirm it is a touchdown. But Alex Smith, my oh my.
Third quarter.
Tried better that on his
I
first
see what you were gonna have, Smith.
Yep. Oh.
Not the guy you want to throw to.
Come on, Jared.
Jared Cook, though. Come on.
Oh my goodness, that was a bad throw.
Should Cook have gone in front, though?
Rams look lethargic on offense, huh? Or they
Nobody
look bad.
playing the preseason.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
We got a listener from Australia
Fourth quarter.
Really?
watching right now. Yeah, John L. Graham.
What's up?
Oh, that's sweet.
What's up, John O? Said the Bird Gang Down Under is traveling to Arizona in November for the Raiders game.
I'll be at that Raiders game. I'll
Oh,
be at that Raiders game.
I'm sure you will.
Yes, indeed.
That had no chance. None. That's a jump ball to a guy 5'10". This is Christian Kirk in open field.
I did that on purpose.
I did forget about the Kirk run. I thought he had it too. He went
Sure,
cut it
he
the
went the
wrong
wrong
way.
way. He should have went right. See, he went left. Had a wide open sideline.
Put you off about 10 seconds.
Okay.
With an eye on Reed on Seals Jones. And the Cardinals turn it over on downs, and now trying to ring it around this one.
Wow, that's another hard game to swallow.
I'm not mad.
And I had to do it to let everybody relive it. Sorry. But this is the second time Christian Kirk messed up on a punt return. He went the wrong way this time. Instead of going down the sideline to the right, he cuts back into the traffic and gets tackled.
Yeah, the
But-
last guy.
Exactly, the last guy. But yeah, that was an ugly game. And then the coach at the end, of course, had his press conference, and he wasn't happy. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that because I heard you guys talking earlier about that, and I got some things I wanted to say on that too. So we're going to get back to that. And you're listening to the Kazual Sportz Show here on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060, Bird Gang. You know how we do it each week. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Dang, 6 of them are coming from Australia.
6?
Nice.
And then they're staying the next week for LA too.
Sweet.
Gotta love when the Bird Gang travels, man. We appreciate you.
Well, I hinted that one real early.
Missed a part of Bob Kemp in the Sports Zone from 10
This
to
one
1.
didn't
Don't
go
worry.
nowhere near what I thought it would be.
Hey, it's alright. You showed up for 3 quarters. The Cardinals didn't even show up for 1.
Huh.
That's a good one.
I have them in droves. Just tell me when to stop.
You can keep doing it all night, as far as I'm concerned.
The guy that I commented on that post.
Is the Diamondbacks following suit?
Yeah, they're done.
Oh,
They're done. Guess what? The Box Burger is no longer the closer.
Hmm?
Box Burger is not the closer anymore.
Oh, they pulled him?
It's going to be by committee.
They
Based on
pulled
matchups.
him?
Yep, it's by committee now.
Wow.
Booker's out 6 weeks. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah, I heard that.
Which
Which is kind of weird because
We
it's
should
like,
mention that because we
yeah,
saw him
I was
the
gonna
day
go down.
before.
I was gonna give some props to ASU. That was gonna be in my first segment.
That had to
but
be crazy because y'all were
that
there.
was dope, man.
We were in that end zone.
It was right there when he
All
caught the
that
touchdown.
action.
I was like on TV, like, yeah. I was right there.
Yeah, she said we were. My mom said we were on TV.
We were right there on.
She's
on
like, I
the
saw
very
your
good
shoes.
side.
It's like, good, because they're good shoes. You look good. You're on sale.
It was awesome, man. Especially
catch
when
that?
nobody expected that you know, that they can actually win that game.
Is that DRC?
Yeah.
They got DRC?
Yeah.
I
I thought he should have went back home to Arizona.
I don't think they thought he had anything left.
Oh, he got something left.
I'm not
That dude can cover. He might not be as fast as he used to be, but he can cover.
It's true. It's true. Did I tell you when you were in the news conference after Ray Anderson was talking with Michael Crow? And he looked pretty calm after that win.
Really?
He was kind of like, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what Herm Edwards was saying though. He said that somebody asked him why he was so calm and why.
What's the defensive coordinator's name? Andy
I forgot.
Garcia.
I just saw his name. Gonzalez.
Yeah, Gonzalez, one of those names. That dude, he was in the presser, and they asked Herm a question. He said, "That's why I hired guys like this guy." That dude took off. He didn't want to talk to nobody. He just took off in the back.
Danny Gonzalez.
Yeah, Danny Gonzalez. There you go.
Valentine tuned in. What's up? What's up, big guy?
My man. Trying to get you in there tonight. I accident on the Dave Freeway, man. Stopped the Bird Gang huddle, but I got you in there, man.
Hope Marlins was fun. Drinks better be free by the third quarter. We're going to talk about Rosen because you know people are asking for it.
Oh man, don't insult the NFL.
Because I got a good joke against just one line.
Somebody in the show, after the
yeah, they said I'm not talking about that.
Yeah,
They
really
refused
said
to read
I agree with that.
It's
stupid.
ridiculous.
My answer, like if you ask the question, my answer would be, can you play linebacker? Because that's what we need.
Thank
right
you.
now.
Thank you.
Good point.
I think I'll do the ASU thing in the last. No, because I got King G right in the last segment. So
That's fair.
I want to squeeze some ASU in here in this third segment. So we're gonna squeeze them in first, and then we'll do the Cardinals stuff. Because I know I had a lot of stuff on this Cardinal game too. I got 3 pages worth of stuff.
Y'all need some club decor. I almost wore my hat. I just got a haircut though. You gotta come back in.
I was just.
You're the
He's
decor.
the part that can't get right. The hell was he thinking trading Mac?
Yeah.
Oh! You gotta come up with that ball!
I hate to say it, but Mac would have caught that.
Oh! What'd you say?
I said Mac would have caught that. Is that Urban?
Bruce Irvin?
The spin move.
Oh!
DRC.
You gotta catch that, D.
Johnson.
Oh. I told you he can still cover.
I believe it.
Raiders defense pretty good then, huh?
They're hanging in there. I think they're taking it personal.
I hope so.
If they're trading Mac, anyone else is on the table.
Get him. Too much time. Nice coverage. Raiders D is tight.
I hold out.
We'll take a field goal.
You're too stressed right now, man. Just take
When
it
I
from
turned that
a Cardinal
I
fan.
turned
It's
that
just
game
week
on
one.
and saw that Jets score. I was like, this
Yeah.
rookie lighting it up.
I think his first pass, his first attempt was an interception.
Wasn't it? It was?
First pass.
Oh, he was nervous.
All of our
That had to
Panthers
be
are all
defense.
messed
So
up.
was the Jet defense that dang good? So how did they get that many points? Oh, Stafford just off.
It's now time to jump back into the action with Earl Burnett, aka Kazual on the Kazual Sportz Show on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060. To be a part of the show, call and interact at 602-260-1060.
All right, welcome back into the Casual House. Thank you again to my people at Entrust Realty, the lowest vacancy rate in the AZ. I should know, I deal with them personally. And we want to give a shout out right now to Herm Edwards and the ASU Sun Devils.
I'm on the train.
They hit the rankings today, number 23. Is that? Hey, that answered our question at the post game.
I didn't think they would be. I didn't think they would be ranked. But
You didn't?
No, I did. I thought they would get some votes, but I didn't think they would be
Why?
ranked.
Why did you think that?
Because one of the it's the snap reaction. Because I don't think that they should have the polls out until week 3 or 4.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
is that
That's
people
a
were
good
saying
point.
that Michigan State shouldn't have been ranked in the first place, so that they were
Oh.
overranked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that I started to see that right away. So for that reason, I thought some people would say, "Well, Michigan State."
So Michigan State was ranked based on last year's performance,
based upon
coming in.
a forecast. If you will.
Oh,
Yeah.
A
okay.
forecast.
So they're now at 25. So it's kind of one of those like it was a good game. They were respecting
There's some
both
type
teams.
of correction. So
Yeah.
Now, how does that? They're 25. Okay, they can still be ranked by getting.
yeah, because it just there's certain
early.
you lose like that to a non-ranked team.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's gonna definitely be.
So
a
is
correction.
San Diego State? What are they ranked? They're not ranked, right?
No.
I'm not so much on college football, so
No.
y'all gotta forgive me.
But they play ASU real hard.
They
all the
play.
time.
Yeah, they sure do. They beat the hell out of them last year.
Yeah.
But I think that's Manny and them are gonna probably know that too.
Yeah,
But,
that's press.
It wasn't a
for sure.
perfect game, but man, I'm telling you, that defense showed some serious grit in that game.
You guys were there on the field, but it looked to me like the defense just flies. The defense has much more intensity. They're
Oh, yes.
flying to the ball.
Oh,
That's
yes.
what it looks like to me.
No,
Yeah.
that's you're right. If you can see
Breaking
that
up
from
every pass.
they spent a lot of time on the field in the first half. So I thought they were tiring out. I mean, we were saying when they scored that touchdown in the third quarter, we were like, oh, that's game.
Yeah, we
But
called game.
The
We did.
defense, they I don't know if it's just Herm teaching them or whatever it is he's teaching or he's selling to them. They're buying it because they gutted and just gritted up. And the key to that game was the goal line stand with the interception.
Yeah.
When they saw that they stopped them from scoring and they kept them out of the end zone the whole half, I said, okay, this is going to be a defensive battle. And they stayed in there, man. But it hurt the offense a little bit because the offense was getting off the field fast and the defense was on the field a lot.
What I loved the most was the poise of Herm Edwards.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
something that was really overlooked when he came in, when people didn't like the hire. They're like, well, he's been out for so long.
Right.
It felt like an NFL game. And it
Exactly.
ran like an
It
NFL
sure
game with
did.
the clock
It sure
management
did.
and the field goal at the end.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
And to you mentioned off the air
Mm-hmm.
in the break, and I think there's something to this, is that when you hire people to do a job, let them do their job.
Absolutely.
Because that's why you hire them. Don't get all
Absolutely.
micromanaging in terms of the way you approach them, and that can maybe be something for the Cardinals head coach as well. In terms of what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm not trying
Yeah.
to say he's
Right.
not
Yeah.
great,
You're right.
but trust people to do the job.
Phoenix
Exactly.
Suns can take a note from that.
Yeah, and Herm is teaching them up and coaching them up, games like that, you have to have a veteran quarterback and a lot of vets that can just lead that team on the field. And Manny this dude, I'm telling you, he has impressed me big time.
Absolutely.
His game just continues to evolve and get better and better. And I'm telling you right now, he is playing with the biggest chip on his shoulder right now, and he is balling.
Yeah, and I love to see his grit, his determination.
Yeah.
They fought for every yard.
Everything.
And speaking of fighting for every yard and determination, what stuck out more to me was Nikhil Harry.
Yeah.
89 yards, a touchdown.
You mean
in the second half?
You mean Nkeel? Have you guys noticed how
his
they
name
keep
is Nick
mispronouncing-
Kidd. It's in with the
They
high.
keep mispronouncing this man's name because I see. I'm
I did
watching
it right, though,
television.
right?
No, you did it right.
Okay, good.
But I've seen people who are supposed to know the sport. They say, and
In
Nkeel.
Oh my gosh.
Are those sports people doing that?
Yes,
Nkeel,
Are you
trust.
kidding
yes,
me?
sports people.
Wow.
ESPN.
They
Sports
also
people.
they also call the Cardinals games, so I'm used to
Wow.
hearing that.
Yes.
I definitely got to put a lookout though for him because I'd love to see him in a Cardinal uniform. He has the size that you need right now on this roster.
Man, I'm telling you, he's definitely going to be atop that board somewhere in that draft.
Yeah, that size doesn't go cheaply.
I got to, like I said, Manny's day, he took a lot of hits in that game. 30 for 48, 380 and a touchdown. I mean, that kid was just
Accuracy was an issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was
Good point.
Over a lot of them.
On the deep ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the deep ball, he missed, and it was
Yeah.
kind of, that's why we kept
Some
thinking,
wide open,
yeah,
overshot.
like a yard and a half and 2 yards,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And they're diving for it, and they're still short.
Right. We kept on saying, oh, this game just feels like a loss because he could not hit that deep ball. Remember the one to Darby?
Yes.
Right in his hands, and it's like drop.
Yeah.
Or a finger, a fingertip over it.
Right
It's like, wow, what's going on? And he finally hit him. And I was like, man, that was crazy. But Manny is turning into a hell of a leader, man. I saw this kid barking at Frank Darby. I mean,
turning
barking,
around and ignoring him.
And like, he was, and then come back later and, kind of hit him on dap on the head, like, let's go. He is turned into a true leader. You saw it a little on TV. Man,
I can imagine what you guys saw.
Yeah, the cameras went away from it on TV. He kept barking at this dude, and he was. I mean, it was something else, but I got to give him props, man. I mean, I don't know. They're not going to put him in the Heisman talks. I already know all of that. But this kid, man, he kind of reminds me of the grit of a Russell Wilson, man. He just reminds me of that. But let's get back to Cardinal talk here. ASU is 2-0, and we
are. The difference is the grit. Grit, ASU, and the Cardinals necessarily
you
have
just
grit.
said it.
He got grounded.
He went there. But that's the truth, man.
Yep.
That's the truth. Let me ask you this. Do you guys think that the Cardinals, first of all, let me say this. 5 or 6 takeaways from this game. I got takeaways are, were we prepared?
No.
And see, that points to coaching. Now remember this, a new coach is coming in. He needs to learn some stuff about coaching as well. So maybe his preparation he thought was okay was not okay, because after that game he said, it starts with me and I have to go back and do some things different. So as a new coach, remember this same thing happened to BA. Brand new coach, never coached before. Yeah. And there's some coaches out there that can go to one team to another team, but take a philosophy with them, but they have coaching experience that they come out and, I mean, look at some of these new coaches that played this weekend. I mean, good games.
You got Al Holcomb too, who is new to the defensive coordinator side.
Exactly.
And so my answer to that question was strictly driven on the defense's performance.
Okay.
Because I feel like Mike McCoy, they got their offense, it just wasn't good for the game plan that the Redskins brought to us. Mm-hmm. Like they had our plan figured out. Mm-hmm. But the defensive strategy, it definitely looked like no one was on the same page. There was gaps all over the place. Yeah. And that's something for Holcomb to also learn as well.
Right. And the second thing, of course, we know I took away from the game is, of course, the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
That was automatically the game right there from the get-go. I mean, we saw the offensive line open up 2 great holes in the beginning, and David's doing his thing. We're like, okay, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
After that, we saw nothing else. And so they got manhandled in the trenches. And I like what Steve Wilkes said today. He said, it looks like on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, guys were trying to do too much.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
And they were jumping in other gaps that they were not supposed to be in. That's why AP had the big day he had, because we're jumping out of gaps trying to just be the man. I'm going to tackle this dude. And we're not being sound technique-wise and staying in that gap.
Yeah, Peterson will eat you alive if you think you have him.
Man. Tell me you saw him run Patrick over.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well,
that was in the highlight.
He got pushed on the side, too. Yeah.
He just trucked him. I mean, I guess Patrick was making one of those business decisions again. He's like hanging on the side. But, so, the running game we gave up, of course, you already know, 26 carries, 96 yards to AP and a touchdown. And then Chris Thompson just killed us out of the dang backfield for screens and everything else you can name.
It's nice to see a screen work. It just sucks when it's against your
team. Yes, exactly. It always seems to be against this team.
Yeah, we can't defend the screen.
We cannot.
Or tight ends.
It's tight ends and screens. We just have a hard time. And then, of course, the next thing I took away from this game was tackling. Oh, my gosh.
No, that has to be something more from a want-to aspect.
Yes.
From that, because you guys were at more practices than I, but that's what Wilkes seems to coach, is trying to callous those guys and by being a little bit more aggressive during practice and some of the things that they do. That has to be a want-to.
Exactly. The Redskins tackled us short of first downs. They were they were going at us. I mean, their tackling was pretty good.
Yeah, and it looked like we were playing more prevent.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll give him this much.
You're right. And
we'll give him this much.
We couldn't wrap up for nothing. It was like we were flying by and just saying, okay, I was there, but he made a good move.
Yeah.
Somebody said it earlier on the radio that we just looked like we just was not what did they say? They just did not have a fighting spirit. It was like just nonchalant, just there, like, here we are. It's the first game with the new name, with the new name on the stadium.
Yeah.
And you come out like this. You think you'd be hyped up to that? No more than that, But
The farm's on fire.
What y'all think about that, Facebook?
Okay, so one more. I got a couple of other things. I know we got to get to. That last segment's going to be kind of quick, but we already know wide receivers was the other thing. Third down efficiency. Oh my goodness, we cannot pick up a first down on third down, even in a 3rd and 3.
Right.
It was bad all across the board. This was just bad.
Yeah.
What do you look at for stuff like that?
I mean, Bradford had a couple, maybe like 2 that I would say were inaccurate.
Yeah.
The rest of them might have been drops or contested.
Right.
I think the screens weren't working, obviously. You throw a screen and there's no one blocking for you. It's just you and then 3 defenders looking at you.
We were 1 for 8 on 3rd down. We had 14 plays in the first half. 14 plays. That tells you cannot sustain a drive. That's high school stuff.
You can get 14 plays in a drive.
That's high school stuff, man. I'm baffled by it. But again, I do say, give it time. Give it a few weeks because it's going to take time for this thing to get on this ship to get right. It's not going to get right that quick.
They can definitely rebound from this, especially if LA loses today, because we'll all be tied for 0-1.
Everybody be 0-1, huh?
And there's your chance
right there. Help y'all out with that.
Oh, yeah.
Really do too.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're going to mention this in your last segment, but at least there is one bright spot because on Friday or Saturday the news came down.
Right.
That your boy got signed to an extension.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes, and I think that has you know me, I'm gonna find something. Check this out. I'm looking at the game, and we getting our butts kicked. And I look on the TV, Davis sitting on the bench with a smile on his face, man.
Yeah, he's got $30 million guaranteed coming down the pipe.
Exactly.
Those incentives, though, is he going to hit them all? That's the question.
Man.
If you're only getting 30 yards a game, it's not going to happen.
But at the same time, he was the first person to say, look, I didn't play a good game. But remember, he was saying that when B.A. was coach, too. I'm not picking up the blitzes. I'm not picking up the protections. He was saying that before he got hurt last year, so he's still having issues with that.
He's got to stop making mistakes if he wants to be one of those pros.
Right.
This is true.
Kazual Sportz Show. Look us up on Facebook. Our 3 outlets are Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Kazual Sportz, K-A-Z with the Z at the end of sports. You're listening to the Kazual Sportz Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. That was the see that.
Take that.
The Raiders look pretty damn good, or am I just seeing things?
I'll be happy.
Can we just end the game at the half?
Oh yeah, you know. The Rams gonna start picking up their rhythm a little bit too.
Let's hope it's a week 16.
Yeah.
Did you read that article about the Seahawks that came out?
No. Who wrote
It's
it?
a pretty scathing article.
About
Russ.
Coach
The defense versus Russ, basically.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I loved every second of it.
All about him getting special treatment and all that stuff. Yeah.
They felt like it was just Coach and Russ versus the world.
Oh.
Which, yeah, it's your quarterback for one, and two.
But when you set it up, the way that it made it sound was as if it was, all right, leave Sean alone, leave Sean alone. I mean, yeah,
Stop
you
picking
can mess
on
with
him.
Sean, you can mess with Sean, but all of a sudden one day, hey, y'all stop messing with Sean.
Yeah, like he
As
talked
if-
to Coach.
Wait a
Was like,
minute,
hey,
Sean
they're
say
messing
something to do?
Yeah.
What's the deal, Playboy?
And then they even were saying to their own circle, like, you can't say anything around Russ because it's going to go back to Coach.
That
was a
death
quote.
knell. That's what would be the death knell.
Really?
Just think about it. It's so-and-so said he likes black licorice, and all of a sudden he likes black licorice. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who said I like? How you know I like black licorice, man? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
that's
It was wild. I shared it today because I read it and I was like, man, no wonder they blew up so quick. Yeah, Drecky posted it. It was on SI. I'll pull it up right now. We need an hour and a half to divulge just this article, though. Here we go.
So I did my 10 on Saturday.
10?
Yeah, man, it was a terrible 10.
A terrible 10?
Yeah, it was a terrible 10.
Because you did a 10.
was pretty much done at mile 7. It was bad.
So you just kind of charted on the last 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely trying to work back into shape, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't as sore as I thought I would be.
That's good. I think
I don't know how y'all do it.
I think I got 7 or 8 on Saturday coming up.
Okay.
The way it's working me in.
I have to look at mine. I think I have another double digit on Saturday. So I'm supposed to do 7 tonight. I'm hoping to do at least. I'll go over here before. Because you guys have seen all those scooters that they have now.
Yeah, you
Parked everything.
You just run to a scooter.
You just stop in the middle of the road.
There's so many.
Well, we exited out the wrong exit of this ASU Stadium.
We
We
saw
both had our
like
hands on our
1,000 of
phones, and then we saw the scooters. We're like, should we just grab a scooter? We had to end up going back into the stadium and go out the other way. It's either that or going around the mountain. We were gonna go up the mountain. It said 1 a.m. when we got home. Well, I got home. We got home.
We now return to the Kazual Sportz Show on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060. Your host, Casual Lee.
Welcome back into the Casual House Bird Gang. Last segment. Just as a reminder, again, Cardinal players in Big Red are going to be at Cartwright School District, the Spatoni Tigers. They're going to be down there giving reading and telling the kids about reading being fundamental. And Kazual Sportz is going to be in the house. And again, a special thanks out to Principal Janet Heck and also awesome teacher Alicia Alvarez for reaching out to the Kazual Sportz Show. Okay. Oh, man. I wanted to hit Bradford real quick before we
Go for it.
Before we go into the next.
Some people are loving his play right now.
Man, you always come with something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Bradford in this game, 20 for 34, 153 yards, 1 INT, 1 fumble, quarterback rating 58.8, 3 for 7 for 11 yards in the first half. What is going on? I know the offenses, they still don't have chemistry. They still don't have connections with our number 2 receiver. We already get that.
Yeah.
But Bradford's not Bradford. That was not Bradford.
No, it wasn't. It was like It wasn't even practice Bradford, because practice Bradford was getting rave reviews all offseason.
Yes. I think Bradford needs a Snickers bar because he's not himself.
Oh,
And so.
You ever seen those movies where the parent will say, don't go to the end of the block because a monster into the end of the block to the child, don't go, and keeps putting that in their head, keeps putting it in their head, and then the kid all of a sudden ventures to the end of the block, and is so scared, and his heart is beating, and then he finds, oh, there's trees at the end of the block, there's a park,
Right.
why'd you check?
Right.
I think Bradford, there's always the caveat with Bradford, is if he can stay healthy.
I'm glad you said that.
I think that goes throughout the organization.
Right.
And so that goes into the game plan. And then it trickles down
Are
to how
on
you
the
call
same
plays.
wavelength, bro. Because I have that right here in my notes. This team is handicapped because of Bradford's knees. Mentally. No disrespect to the handicap, but this team is handicapped because of Bradford's knees mentally.
Right.
And you're right, they're coaching the same way. They're coaching around it. They're making sure everything is, let's not get him hurt. And I'm going to tell you, he played like that too. If you're distracted, Bradford is the most accurate quarterback that's in this league.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to surprise him. No pressure, no defense. He's seen it all. So if you're distracted, your mind's on something else. His mind was on that knee. I guarantee it, because if you see him roll out and throw, he's jumping up to throw instead of planting to throw.
Yeah.
His mind was on that knee.
And here's another thing, too. He had that little run out in the middle to slide.
Mm-hmm.
First off, the whole stadium took a deep breath because I thought he concussed himself just falling down. I kid you not. I told my friends
Son,
over
you
there.
crazy, man.
I said, well, there he goes. He's in concussion protocol. He wouldn't even slide feet first. That's how much he's
I hear you.
babying that knee, and I get it. I've had my ACL torn. I get that.
You have to say, anybody that comes back from an ACL injury, they're never the same for a good full season. And I look for him to be that way for a while. He's not confident in that knee. He's not.
So should they just put
No, don't start that, man.
Can he play linebacker?
Can't
Because that's what we need.
Yeah, because that's what people are saying. Well, we would have
Right,
won if it was not a lot.
Not-
Very
not-
small.
Right. And it's only one game. Let's
Yeah.
give Bradford. I mean, usually when people have issues, they get a couple of games or a few weeks to right the ship.
Yeah.
So let's give him a few weeks. Let's give him a few weeks to see if he can find an identity for this team on offense. But I think it starts with him, his confidence. If his confidence is blown, then you're probably going to start looking at putting Rosen in, because if he's still looking down and watching that and he's inaccurate the way he was inaccurate Sunday,
Well,
he's not going to be the same all year.
He better start piling up all that guarantee money he used to have to buy some confidence, because he's going into LA, one of the nastiest defense we've ever put on paper.
No. One of the defense that hurts our quarterback every other year, or is it?
Maybe
Or
they won't
every
hurt
year?
their own former quarterback.
Oh,
You'll never know. Maybe they'll treat him nice.
But it's the same. If another crazy analogy is that when Sean, when you were stuck in traffic, you
Right.
had all the confidence in the world that Sean could
At-
drive the show.
good point,
But if
bro.
you always told him,
Good
"Nah,
point.
man, you don't drive, you don't drive,
Right.
you don't drive," and then all of a sudden you're not here, and he says, "Yeah,
He'd have been in like that.
we just gonna have to play some commercials." until you show up." Then it becomes a block for him,
Exactly.
because it's a block for you. It has to come from the top down, from coaches,
perfect,
instilling that confidence and trust within it.
That is perfect.
Shout out
That's
to
exactly it.
my dad right now. He even pointed out that he didn't even have a brace on that knee. So you should be confident if you don't have a brace on your knee.
He didn't have a brace, but I'm telling you, it was
Oh, he was
mentally,
favoring.
it was in his head.
Then
I
he
know.
might need to put one on to feel more confident with it.
Right, exactly.
If you're not planting, then put one on and plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that and find out who can't get some things right. It's been a minute, so go ahead and hit that for us, crew.
Here's to those who just
No. Can't get right. This for you, baby. And the first person on that list, J.J. Nelson.
Oh, man.
Oh, my
He's
goodness.
going to be on your list all year, huh?
Every man, each time. How do you come up with first of all, he was on the field one play, or was it a series? I think it was one play.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
It
He was
was-
definitely on the sidelines a lot.
How do you be in the league this long and can't get on the field for more than one play? You have to be doing something wrong in practice if you can't get on the field in a game.
Yeah.
So they see something that JJ's doing and he's not doing right, that they don't trust him. And I know it's got to do something with them hands, probably.
It's
That's
definitely not
the
legs.
first thing.
It's not the legs.
It's definitely not the legs.
It's the hands.
Exactly.
It's not the shoes.
Exactly.
I got one for you.
Of course you
The
do.
entire linebacking core of the Arizona Cardinals. How can you let Adrian Peterson run all over you? I still
Oh.
can't get over that. He had one good game for us last year.
Okay.
Arguably two.
Yeah.
How do you let him do that to you?
Wow.
Especially
How?
when you practiced against him last year.
And you don't have a slouch for a linebacking core. You got Buchanan, you got Bynes, you have players.
Exactly.
It's not like they were slouches. That part got me the most.
Right. And I'm going to finish it up. John Gruden. Although he's balling tonight with his team hanging in this game with the Rams, but you can't get it right because you're a dinosaur, man, when it comes to the office.
Yeah.
What are you doing
It's true.
getting rid of the best player on your team, and he
Yeah.
goes to this other team and just pretty much smacked you in the face?
Yep.
Did you see that performance?
I did.
Oh, my
see
God.
the rebuttal, though?
He walked up in the party with an 8-track saying, "I got it. What up, everybody?" Everybody got thumb drives. He got an 8-track now.
John Gruden, you got to get with the times, man. Here's a note for you, John. Salaries are going up every year. This is not 2002, man.
The salaries are too darn high. That's Gruden right there.
We could have squeezed some D-backs in there, but you already know that story there.
Dumpster fire.
Stick a fork in them, they're pretty much done, and that's who can't get right. Woo!
Man, my D-backs, come on.
Yeah, you know. All right. So, man, we got. What about the D-backs? Did they lose that game tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And Boxburger's no longer the.
It's gotten so bad I don't even stop to look. So,
No, yeah, you just win when
kinda
you get
like
the
that.
notification.
Yeah. So I said coming into this series with them, with the Rockies, they had the sweep. to really put a
Because they
or
only
sweep
3.5 back.
or win a series 3-1. You can't split. You can't get whooped. You have to sweep or win it 3-1. But now
you got to win the series.
you have to.
Must win.
They're going to be what, 3 back now, 3.5 back now.
Most likely, yeah.
It's done. It's like a fork stuck in them. They're pretty much done. But this has been a wonderful show. Well, go ahead, man. What you got?
At least it's not stuck in Booker's hand.
Wow.
That was the last one.
D Book was at the ASU game, and that was his last joke.
Shout out to Book.
He fly on private jets.
Thank you, Bird Gang, for coming in to the Kazual Sportz Show another Monday night. Don't forget to catch us on Thursday night. The Neutral Zone will be here at 8 to 9, and we will catch you next week. You're listening to the Kazual Sportz Show here on NBC Sports Radio. Look us up on Facebook, Kazual Sportz, K-A-Z, with the Z at the end of sports. And you know how we do it. We go!
Check this out, bro. When it's sit right now, you can get everybody in frame for Thursday.
I thought you were going to sit up on this table and let it come down. That would have been cool.
But the only thing I've had a problem with is
but
I have
somebody
somebody
on the
right
other
here,
side.
and then
Yeah,
he might not be in
back.
frame. See you, Facebook.
See you, Facebook news.